Morning, Captain Whitaker.
Here's your manifest with 102 souls on board.
Let's get them tucked in. We're ready to push.
How you feeling, Whip? Looked like you pulled some kind of move up there, man. You saved a lot of lives.
We are in a dive.
I have no control on my side.
We going down?
Everybody embrace positions.
The way you landed that plane was nothing short of a miracle.
I see nothing but houses.
Evan, listen to me. Trim us nose down.
Plane fell apart at 30,000 feet.
We're gonna roll it.
What do you mean, roll it?
Ready? Here we go.
I've got to tell you, it's so fascinating and also kind of maddening to watch Captain Whitaker's ability and necessity to lie to everyone about the demons and the different aspects of his life. If you're going to be an actor, with everything that being an actor entails, how good of a liar do you have to be?
Well, you know, acting's different because you're playing a part. I mean, you know, and you're sticking to the script. You're not improvising. I mean, he was constantly improvising. You know, trying to, you know, get off the hook.
It's a skill.
And he's highly developed skill on his behalf.
Most definitely. You know, but I love watching. You know, you have so many great characters that have so many different kinds of demons that they have to deal with, whether it be Flight or Training Day, American Gangster, Man on Fire. At the end of the day, when you're walking away from the set, whose demons were the easiest to get rid of, and whose demons were the ones that stuck with you the most?
Well, I don't look at them necessarily as demons. I mean, you got to look. You know, they teach you in acting school that you got to love your character. You got to love who he is, and you got to believe in who he is. So I don't necessarily look at them as demons. I mean,
do you kind of have to justify then maybe every kind of?
I think that's a better word. Yeah, you're justifying your behavior. You know, you're like, yeah, I'd say that.
Absolutely.
Justify.
Now, obviously, the crash for Captain Whitaker is that moment that provides the most self-reflection for who he is. It gives him the opportunity to look at himself as a man. What has been that moment in your life that maybe has provided kind of a similar experience where you've been able to have a little bit of self-reflection and look at yourself as who you are as a man?
Well, I don't know of anything that extreme.
Well, yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not that extreme. But I think it's in smaller doses. I don't think there's one. I can't think of one pivotal event. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, when I was in college, actually, they told me to go home because my grades weren't good enough.
No kidding.
So there was some self-reflection and like, all right, what am I going to do? Join the army, or get a job at the post office, or whatever. You know, it was a slap of reality,
right.
and I had to come to terms with it.
Right.
And so they said, well, why don't you take a semester off? And that's what I did. And when I got back to school, that's when I started acting, actually. Mm. And, you know, I didn't take it for granted any longer.
And that's, you could say, maybe one of the best things that ever happened to you.
It turned out all right.
Absolutely. Now we're here.
Yes.
You and I hanging out.
That's right.
Now, I feel like
I didn't get a suit quite like yours, but
there aren't, you know, I feel like we've entered a period of movie going where an actor's name above the title doesn't necessarily get audiences in the seats anymore. It doesn't get a big box office anymore. Yet you are one of, if not the last actor who people will go see because you were in a movie, no matter what the movie is.
Well, I think it has more to do with whether you make a good movie or not whose name is on above the title. I don't think a person's name above the title ever made for super box office. You still had to have or make something that people wanted to see.
Mm. And you do. You always do. You're hanging, dude. You got the big numbers, man. Okay. You're hanging in there. If you ever come to Houston, Mr. Washington, have a very comfortable fold-out couch. I got you covered, my friend.
You got me covered.
I got you covered.
They still have chafalayas there?
Yes, sir.
We can pick up some chafalayas and.
I'm down for that.
All right.
Always an honor, my friend.
My pleasure.
I'm on the list, baby girl. There's all kinds of crazy news people out here. You're a rock star, man. You will never pay for another drink as long as you live.
Captain Whitaker is a real American hero.
This is Hugh Lang. He's an attorney from Chicago. Why do we need a lawyer?
You don't remember having your blood drawn the night of the crash? You had alcohol in your system. That could be life in prison.
You know, I have an interesting moral dilemma with this film because I feel like your character is my favorite in the film, but you could make a great argument that he is, in fact, the most dangerous character in the film because he's kind of an enabler a little bit. Where's that line between
He's not an enabler a little bit, he's an enabler a lot.
Exactly.
But in the degree of enablers, there's so many in this film, all thinking they're doing the right thing for Denzel character, Whip. And they're all doing it for their own reasons. I see him as a friend. There's a little hero worship going on. We spend a lot of time together for the wrong reasons.
Right. Right. Now, you have been in a lot of great movies throughout your career. At what point in the acting process do you realize when you're in something like Flight or something like Argo or something like Big Lebowski, do you realize, hey, this is a great film?
Usually it's on the page in front of you, and plus, one of the reasons I did this was to work with Robert Zemeckis. He's a very gifted storyteller, great director, and he knows how to make a movie.
Absolutely. Now, as dangerous as this guy is, he is, at the end of the day, still a friend and a confidant and a supportive person for the captain. Who is that person in your life? Who do you have that kind of helps you along and kind of get you from A to B?
Oh, my wife. Yeah, definitely. And I haven't been seeing a whole lot of her lately. Yeah, I've been away from home for a long time. So.
She's got to, with everything between this and Argo, she's got to be proud though.
Yeah, she is, and my daughter is too. So that's nice. But yeah, I couldn't be doing this without her.
I'm sure. Hey, we all have those people. We all do. Now, obviously, I've got to tell you, Fallen is actually one of my favorite films. I think that is such an incredible film. I still hear that song. Anytime I hear that song, I always think that someone's hitting into someone else. Obviously, you've worked with Denzel before. What's the biggest difference between the Denzel you worked with then and the Denzel you worked with now?
I didn't really notice a difference. He's very committed, very prepared, and focused as hell. He's a great actor. It's a privilege to work with him.
Now, whenever I was bragging to people that I was going to come talk to you, it's interesting because I always like to see what people's reaction are. Oh, I love him in that. And I kept getting a different movie from every different person. So what is the movie that most people come up to you and like, oh, I love you in?
Big Lebowski. And they'll usually scream something at me.
And are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm proud of it. I enjoy doing it.
How do you think, because that's probably one of my all-time top 10 favorite films of all time. Why do you think all of a sudden, just within the last 10 years, it has become the movie that it has become?
I think it's just well written, and I don't know.
It's a fantastic.
Yeah, it just added up. Everything added up.
I could talk to you all day, and I really appreciate your time, and congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
If you ever come to Houston, I have a very comfortable fold-out couch.
All right.
So
I'm down.
I got you covered. An honor, sir.
All right, buddy.
Good to see you. Take
Thanks
care.
a lot.
The NTSB hearings in 10 days.
They're under the microscope right now.
Are you hiding something?
You gonna shoot me? Can I come inside?
Yeah, come on inside. I'll shoot you inside.
This was an act of God.
Those God would do this.
Our investigators concluded the aircraft failed.
The FAA placed 10 pilots in simulators, recreated the events. Every pilot killed everybody on board. You were the only one who could do it.
You saved my mom. I want to talk about the days leading up to the accident.
This thing is so heavy it's killed me. I drank the night before the flight. Does Whitaker know he's going to jail?
My clients don't go to jail.
It's alive, Whip. It's alive.
I feel like, Mr. Zemeckis, when you look through your filmography, all of your films are so different and so, have such a great range that shows that you're a great risk taker as a director. So I was wondering, looking back at all of the different elements of the different films you've done, which do you feel is like the biggest risk that you had to take as a director?
I don't know. I mean, all movies are risky, but I think that that's the point. It's. I think that the trick to doing any type of art form, and I consider movies to be an art form,
Absolutely.
very expensive art form, is that you have to take risks. So if that's what gets me excited to get up in the morning at 4:00 in the morning and go stand out in the rain to make a movie.
Right.
Is the idea that I'm trying something.
Absolutely. And I think you have an ability to put the best music in your movie. I think the Forrest Gump soundtrack is probably the greatest film soundtrack of all time. And obviously this film has a lot of great moments with music is fit perfectly in there. Is that in the script, or do you look at it and say, okay, what song would fit? How does that work?
Well, in the script, in the script, the John Goodman character, it was written that in his car he was playing "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones, and of course that was part of his character. And so then I think the music just kind of grew out of that one piece that was indicated in the screenplay, and the rest of it is just sort of feeling it. But you're a young man. I mean, these are like old songs.
Those songs make me realize that my generation sucks when it comes to music. I'm telling you. Now I've got my favorite actor of all time is Tom Hanks, who you've worked with a time or two.
Yes.
And we were having a conversation last night as to whether or not he could have played a role like this. Do you think? Did you ever consider, or would you have ever considered maybe Tom?
It's hard to. Here's what happens to me. Once I see. I can't say yes, I can't say no. Once I see a performance that was realized with the sort of, intensity and perfection that Denzel put on the screen to this character, I really have a very hard time ever imagining anyone else doing the part.
Right. I was telling someone, I was like, I just don't know if I could have ever seen Tom snorting a line of cocaine. I just don't know if I could have ever pictured that image. But I never would have thought I could have pictured Denzel doing that either, actually.
But just imagine Jimmy Stewart in Vertigo,
Right.
So you never know, actors are actors,
Absolutely. Now, I was talking to someone about this the other day. I feel like we've entered a period of movie going where people no longer really go to the movies anymore for any particular actor. It's more of concept now. But for some reason, Denzel is the last actor, I feel like, that people will go see a movie because he is in it. So I'm curious as to why you think we're now in that period, and why do you think Denzel is one of, if not the last actor that people will go see a movie for?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. Things are evolving. Hopefully, I'm fearful that you're right. I hope you're wrong, but I'm afraid. But I think we have to if you are right, at least we have Denzel.
Absolutely, and trust me, I cannot speak highly enough of this movie. And Mr. Zemeckis, thank you for your time. It's truly an honor to get to sit across.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
I'm trying to save your life.
We lost our power!
Brace for impact. No one could have landed that plane like I did.